Took place in the afternoon as the children were leaving the school in Fengshan County. No children or teachers are among the dead or wounded. Police have said that the preliminary investigation has found evidence that the explosion was a criminal act and a suspect is being sought. As of 11 p.m., 65 injured people have been sent for treatment, including 8 who remain in critical condition. The country's public security ministry has sent a working team to investigate the blast. The provincial government has ordered checks for possible safety issues at production sites. China's meteorological authority maintained its yellow alert Friday as a heat wave is expected to sweep across many regions of the country. Temperatures are expected to rise above 35 degrees Celsius in Beijing and Tianjin, as well as parts of Hebei, Inner Mongolia, Liaoning, and Shandong. Some areas will see temperatures reach between 37 and 40 degrees Celsius. China has a 4-tier weather warning system, with red representing the most severe, followed by orange, yellow, and blue. The UN Security Council has condemned in the strongest terms a terrorist attack against civilians in the Somali capital of Mogadishu. Gunmen attacked a restaurant in South Mogadishu Wednesday night, killing at least 18 people in the night-long siege. The extremist group Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the attack. In a unanimous statement, the 15-Nation Council said that terrorism in all its forms constitutes one of the most serious threats to international peace and security. The members of the Security Council also reiterated their determination to support peace, stability, and development in Somalia. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said former FBI Director James Comey has presented no evidence to prove that Moscow meddled in the U.S. presidential election. During a question-and-answer session with citizens, Putin said Comey's testimony to the U.S. Senate's Intelligence Committee on Russia's intervention on the 2016 U.S. election is baseless. Putin says the allegation is a clear sign of U.S. political infighting that is blocking better relations with Russia, and Russia stands ready for constructive dialogue. The U.S. Senate has overwhelmingly passed new sanctions on Iran and Russia and put a limit on the White House ability to roll back any sanctions targeting Russia. As for the new Russian sanctions, they target those conducting malicious cyber activity on behalf of the Russian government and those doing business with the Russian intelligence and defense sectors, among others. The new bill also requires the White House to get a congressional review if it attempts to relax, suspend, or terminate sanctions against Russia. It's been announced that the talks over Britain's exit from the European Union will kick off on Monday. Michel Barnier, the European Commission's chief negotiator, and David Davis, the UK Secretary of State for exiting the European Union, agreed on Thursday to launch Article 50 negotiations on June 19th. The wreckage of a crashed Myanmar military plane has been found off the country's southern coast. The Myanmar Air Force plane lost contact with the ground shortly after taking off on June 7th. It was loaded with 2.4 tons of cargo and had 122 people on board, mostly military personnel and their family members. So far, 90 bodies have been recovered. A recent survey shows Chinese investors have spent nearly 2.2 billion euros on soccer clubs. The sum makes those investors the world's biggest buyers of football teams. Research by London-based merger and acquisition specialist Thinking Linking looked at investments by groups from 41 countries. It found the total spent by Chinese investors was larger than the combined sums of the next 40 countries. For CRI News, I'm Wen Jie.
Language Cafe, where we discuss authentic English words and expressions, and we paint pictures with our words. Walk through our show and you'll be able to impress the world with your strong command of the English language.
Welcome to Language Cafe, where learning is fun and fun is learning. I'm Lincoln.
I'm Man Ling.
Today, very lovely little phrase that we have for you today. I don't know if you have ever come across it, but we're talking about being able to hold a candle to something.
Never.
Never heard of this.
If it means just more than holding a candle,
I see.
then that's never.
Okay, well, let me get into the examples, and then we can see from there. Watching a game at home doesn't hold a candle to watching it live.
Boxing match.
Boxing.
Anything.
Anything.
Soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll get a little bit more naughty now. I don't think she holds a candle to his new girlfriend.
That means the man has 2 girlfriends already.
Okay.
The old one
And the new one.
and the new one.
Which one is superior? Which one is
So
inferior?
she holds a candle to his new girlfriend. That means the new girlfriend is a good one. Better one.
She's better.
Oh.
She's superior. So when you can't hold a candle to something, it means that you are inferior to that version of it.
First of all, we are comparing people.
Okay, so let's go back to
Comparing things, right?
Exactly. So let's go back to the first example.
Okay.
Watching a game at home in your lounge, in your television, like in a TV room, doesn't hold a candle to watching it live. It's inferior
It's like movies,
to
huh?
actually being there.
Cinema
live.
movies and iPad watching a movie. It's totally different.
Watching a movie on an iPad doesn't hold a candle to actually being in the theater, surrounded by other people with good sound and a good screen.
Acoustics.
And the good acoustics and all of this. So it's inferior. It's inferior. The former is inferior to the latter. So it's very, very, very simple. Basically something is...
Is it very colloquial that we can use this
to
express?
I think so. It's a very colloquial expression. It's one that I don't necessarily hear every day, but
People are still using them.
people still use it from time to time. And the origin is actually very interesting. It used to be so that when you had these kind of artisans, people who make things... Craftsmen, thank you. They would often have an apprentice.
Oh, yeah,
Someone
definitely.
to help them and learn the craft from them.
Yeah.
And apprentices were expected to hold a candle physically so that, the more experienced workmen
Can finish the task.
can finish the task so that they can see what they were doing. If you were so rubbish that you couldn't even hold a candle.
You can never get closer
Yeah.
to the master.
Exactly. It was considered to be an insult. It was considered to be a way of saying that you are not capable of performing this task at
What an
all.
insult.
So now you can imagine. So you can imagine now, if you throw your mind back to kind of medieval times, maybe it's someone who, a cobbler, someone who makes shoes. He has an apprentice, and then they go their separate ways. And then 10 years later, someone says, this new shoemaker, he is one of the best shoemakers I've ever seen. And then the original guy goes, this guy,
He couldn't
he
even...
couldn't even hold a candle. Are you saying this guy is a better shoemaker than me? Absolutely not. So then that's kind of where I assume the kind of the genesis of the phrase, as it were. So that's that's what you take from it, and that's
Very
exactly how it
interesting
happens.
story.
So yeah,
Can I translate this?
of course.
Yeah, just tell our listeners how interesting this one is. 就学徒的时代，现在过去，就说你这个徒弟啊，这个不行，连给师傅打灯的机会都没有，你都不配。That's very, very interesting. You are not even in a position of holding a handle to your master.
Let alone actually copying what I do. You can't even help me do what I do.
Oh, no.
That's the problem for you. So, do we have something for us in Chinese?
Definitely. I think, my goodness. How come that in Chinese we don't form such an interesting, comparable sort of phrase? But anyway, we do have expressions to express it anyway. 没有可比性啊，或者是不能相提并论。其实最准确的就是差远了，你不配。没法比这个意思。For example, let me try. The cover version of the song doesn't hold a candle to the original. Go and look for the original and then tell me what you think about the song. For example, I'm listening to a song and I, tell Lincoln, this song is just a so-so, not so good. Why it's so famous? And Lincoln would say, hey. The cover version of the song doesn't hold a candle to the original. Go and look for the original and then tell me what you think about the song. 我在听这首翻唱，有人翻唱的这首歌，然后这首歌的翻唱跟原唱相比差远了去了。找原唱听听，然后你跟我分享你的享受。刚才那句话的意思。And second, the twin brothers look exactly the same in appearance. But I don't think the older one holds a candle to the younger one. Does it mean? What does it mean?
This is my question. I actually saw this example.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you what you meant. Because you have to give an example. Do you mean in terms of looks or do you mean in terms of...
In terms of a look, they were the same.
Okay.
You cannot even tell A from B.
All right.
But in terms of merits, how they, behave themselves.
Okay.
They are totally different.
So in terms of personality?
Yeah, personality.
Okay,
so I said in character. Can I say in character?
Of course you can say that, but it's important that you
point it out.
Include exactly what you are comparing.
Let me do it again. The twin brothers look exactly the same in appearance, but I don't think the older one holds a candle to the younger one in character.
Okay.
It's okay?
All right.
In personality.
Or you would say in terms of character, but in character is also
okay.
fine. It's also okay.
Okay. 双胞胎兄弟俩长得一模一样，从样子从模样上来看一点都没有区别，但是我认为大的在性格上在其他方面远不及小的。It's just a way inferior, right? This is Language Cafe. I'm Manling.
And I'm Lincoln.
You are now tuned in to Language Cafe, where learning is fun and fun is learning.